It's like our yearly check-in with the one and only Alessia Cara. Welcome back to the Roz and Mocha Show.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
So you got two new songs, Shapeshifter and Sweet Dream, that you dropped at the same time, as opposed to traditionally just dropping like one song, right? Most artists will just drop one song, release it to the world, and see what happens. Was there a reason for releasing two tracks at the same time?
Yeah, so I always feel like the first song that you put out like should represent, what's to come on the whole project. And because this album is so like heavily focused on the theme of duality and like night and day and light and dark and more sad moments and more happy moments, I felt like it'd be impossible to have just one song represent both of those things. So I don't know, I just wanted to continue that duality theme and put out two songs that are sort of like a yin and yang situation.
And is that because that's what you're going through?
I think so. I feel like as people, we're just like multifaceted. There's always like, I think, a bit of duality in all of us, into life in general. Yeah, but definitely for me, like I feel like this last year and a half or so was like, it started off one way and it ended off in another. So I feel like I started feeling, super, I don't know, I was struggling a lot. I was very stressed, as we all were, I'm sure. But I don't know, it was a tumultuous time for my mental health personally. And so a lot of the songs that came out of that period were about that. And then as the album progresses, you can kind of hear healing start to happen. And there's like an acceptance that I guess comes with dealing with all of those things over time and, sorting things out with yourself. And by the end of the album, there's a lot more happy moments. You can hear it in the sonics, you can hear it lyrically. So it's kind of like a common, like a thread happening.
So would you say that with this album, is it pretty much the progression over the course of the pandemic? We're getting a mix of songs that you wrote maybe closer to the beginning of the pandemic, and then the middle going through all your emotions, and then as we are kind of making our way into this, whatever the new normal is that the progression of the album, the songwriting for these tracks?
Definitely. Yeah, they did happen in the midst of pandemic. I wouldn't say it's like a pandemic or an album about the pandemic or a pandemic album, because I feel like I don't know, it just feels a lot more introspective than that. But at the same time, I think we all sort of went through similar feelings, and as we're coming out of it now, like I feel like we can all sort of look over our shoulder and see where we've come throughout all of that, and know that our worst days hopefully are over with that. But yeah, so I don't know, it just, for me personally, it was just about like a tumultuous period. I was going through so much anxiety, learning so much about myself through going through some of the hardest stuff I think I've ever went through personally. And definitely as the album progresses, you'll hear me come out of that, because I feel like a lot of these songs were the catalyst for me getting the proper help I needed. So now I'm in like such a totally different place. So you'll hear that in the music for sure.
But what's that like? Because you sort of like put yourself in a position of where you're like, oh God, why did I do that? Because now that you are in a better place, you wrote great songs when you were not in a great place. And now that those exist, you have to go back and revisit them and sing those songs every night for the next how many ever years. So you have to go back to that spot constantly. Like you can't let that go because you've brought it with you, right?
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. I haven't had to perform them yet, so we'll see how that goes. But I guess, I mean, when you're in those times, like when I was in those moments, I did not even feel like I'd ever get out of them. So for me, it was like I was writing them because I needed to like purge those feelings, but I never thought that I'd be on the other end of them. It felt like they were so consuming that I was just going to be stuck there, right? So you don't think about the healing process or like actually out of it. So we'll see how it goes. But I feel like because I'm in a better place, like looking on those songs, it'll be different. It won't feel sad. It might just feel hopeful that I'm not there anymore, you know?
Do you, when you're especially a young female artist, when you hit at the age that you hit, there's a certain group of people that want you to grow up real fast, and then there's another group of people that refuse to sort of acknowledge any kind of growth. How do you feel that you've been able to sort of grow? You know what I mean, right? It's tough. Do you feel that people still look at you as the teenager, or are you going back to those times where when you were young, people treated you much older and put you in a different place? Like, where are you now with your own growth?
That's an excellent question. I mean, Yeah, I feel like it's kind of half and half. Like I have half of the world or half of the listeners sort of, seeing me as this like young kid at the party, who's like introverted. I feel like it's probably more than half. I feel like that's kind of the majority of where people lean. It's like they think I'm still that 16-year-old introverted girl at the party who like can never make a confident song again, or can never like, is never allowed to like not be introverted anymore, to grow in that sense. So I get a lot of people that are like, oh, you lied to us, or you were representing like all the introverts and now you're not, like you lied. And I'm like, listen, I hope that you're not the same person you were at 16. Like, I really hope that that's how life works, and that you have changed, because I have definitely changed. I'm not that girl anymore, but I guess people just hold on to a version of you that they decide you are. I think that's kind of, like you said, the struggle of being a young woman in the industry or a person in the industry, is people will take who you are and just decide it for you and put you in a box. And I don't know, it's challenging, but I just try to allow myself to like grow and say whatever I'm feeling in the moment, even if it's not like seemingly on brand with what people have labeled me as in the beginning. I'm still the same like person deep down at the root. My values are still the same. I've just grown, and I've learned to be a better person. So I don't see that as a bad thing.
Well, here on the Raza Mocha Show, we're very happy and fortunate to see the progression of your career from when you were that kid and dropping to where you are now, 3 albums deep and all these songs. And we are so incredibly proud of you. And thank you so much for joining us again and always making time for us on the Raza Mocha Show. Can you at least let us know the title of the album and the release date? Do we know that yet? Or are you allowed to tell us? You know it.
I know, I do know it. I can't tell you guys, unfortunately. It's still a little early on. But there is a hint about it on the in the music video for Shapeshifter. So,
okay. There you go.
There you go. That's what I'll give you.
Yeah. Alessia Cara, much love to you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you guys so much, as always.